screaming started 30 seconds after Ambassador Riley Morgan finished explaining why humans kept dogs as pets. Not the good kind of screaming either, the kind that suggested someone had just realized they'd made a catastrophic error in judgment, followed by what sounded like 3 different species arguing in languages that weren't supposed to be physically possible for the same vocal cords to produce. Riley sipped her coffee, real Earth coffee, not the synthetic garbage they served in most space stations, and watched the chaos unfold with the calm expression of someone who'd attended 47 diplomatic functions this year and had stopped being surprised by alien breakdowns around meeting number 12. "Did I say something wrong?" she asked, genuinely curious. The translation matrix was working fine, her diplomatic credentials were current, and she was pretty sure she hadn't accidentally declared war on anyone in the last 5 minutes. Today was shaping up to be a good day. The hegemony representative, a tall crystalline being whose species name roughly translated to people who take themselves way too seriously, had gone completely silent, which, for Zarthok diplomats, was the equivalent of having a complete nervous breakdown in public. Their entire culture was built around never shutting up, ever, under any circumstances. The consortium delegate, some kind of insectoid creature with too many eyes, and a translator that made everything sound like a formal complaint, was making rapid clicking noises that the universal translator was gamely attempting to render as computational error, please stand by, and the collective's representative, a floating jellyfish thing in a mobility tank, had turned a color that Riley was pretty sure wasn't on their species' normal spectrum. She made a mental note to ask about that later, assuming they all survived whatever diplomatic incident was currently in progress. "You said," the Zartok finally managed, voice crackling through the translator with what sounded like barely controlled panic, "that humans keep predators in your homes as companions." "Well, yeah." Riley set down her coffee cup with the careful precision of someone who'd learned not to make sudden movements around nervous aliens. "Dogs, cats sometimes, though cats are more like tiny roommates who judge your life choices. Some people keep snakes, birds, the occasional lizard. My neighbor back home has a ferret that's basically a furry chaos demon, but it's cute so nobody minds when it steals socks." The clicking from the consortium delegate increased in tempo. The translator had given up and was just displaying error messages now. "Predators," the jellyfish creature repeated, somehow managing to sound horrified despite communicating through bioluminescent color changes. "You domesticated predators. Multiple species of predators. And you enjoy this? I mean, my dog Max isn't exactly what you'd call intimidating. He's afraid of the vacuum cleaner, and once got stuck in a doggy door for 3 hours because he forgot he was bigger than the opening. But technically, yes, I suppose he's a predator, descended from wolves and all that." Riley was starting to get the feeling that this conversation had veered off course somewhere, though she wasn't entirely sure where. These cultural exchange meetings usually went pretty smoothly. Someone would ask about human art or music or food. She'd show them pictures of Earth. Everyone would nod politely and sign some trade agreements. Simple. But the 3 alien delegates were now huddled together in what could charitably be called an emergency conference, if emergency conferences typically involved frantic whispering, alarmed color changes, and the occasional sound that the translator rendered as concerned chittering. "Perhaps," the Zartok said carefully after what felt like several minutes of alien panic, "we should discuss Earth's ecosystem in more detail. For the cultural exchange records, you understand?" Riley nodded. This seemed reasonable. "Sure. What would you like to know?" "Your planet's apex predator," the consortium delegate said, having apparently gotten their translator working again. "We would like to understand the dominant species in your world's food chain, for comparison purposes." "Oh, that's easy," Riley grinned, the kind of smile that had gotten her through 12 years of diplomatic service and exactly 3 alien invasion attempts. "Humans." The silence that followed was the kind of silence that suggested several beings had just experienced what humans might call an "oh shit" moment, followed immediately by what humans definitely called an "oh no" moment. "I beg your pardon," the jellyfish creature managed. "Humans. We're the apex predator on Earth. I mean, we don't hunt much anymore. Most of us just go to grocery stores now. But evolutionarily speaking, we're pretty much at the top of the food chain. We hunted mammoths to extinction, turned wolves into pets, and figured out how to make fire do our bidding. We're persistence hunters, tool users, and we have these things called opposable thumbs that are basically nature's cheat code. Riley was warming to the topic now. She liked explaining human biology to aliens. It was one of the few parts of her job that didn't involve sitting through 6-hour meetings about trade route regulations. We're also social hunters, she continued. Pack tactics, coordinated strikes, communication during the hunt, plus we've got these really weird advantages like being able to run long distances without overheating, throw things with incredible accuracy, and adapt to pretty much any environment on the planet. Desert, tundra, mountains, swamps. We'll live anywhere and eat almost anything. The three delegates were now staring at her with what she was beginning to recognize as horror. "You're predators," the Zarthok whispered. "Well, technically omnivores with predatory adaptations, but sure. We hunt, we gather, we use tools, we work in groups. Pretty standard apex predator stuff, really." "And you," the consortium delegate said slowly, "are telling us this while sitting in a diplomatic conference room, discussing trade agreements and drinking? What is that substance?" "Coffee. It's a mild stimulant, helps me think faster." Riley took another sip, suddenly aware that all three aliens had moved their chairs slightly further away from her. "Is there a problem?" The jellyfish creature had turned a color that the translator was refusing to interpret, which probably wasn't a good sign. "How many of you are there?" the Zarthok asked, voice barely above a whisper. "Humans? About 8 billion last count. Give or take a few million. The census data is always a bit behind."